Okay, I just want to say something very briefly about postmodernism in general, because that's what our focus is going to be, postmodernism. And we said it's the same thing as scientific reductionism, but we'll have to figure out how those things to go together. But just in general, once again, postmodernism is a critique of reason, post-reason, or post-truth. And post-truth is post-absolute truth, or we could even say, now that's one way of saying it, but what's true if it's, well, what's the case, I should say. Let's see the problems you get into when you're starting to talk about postmodernism or post-truth, right, or post-reason. It's the same as saying perspectivism, or even relativism, but this is what Nietzsche is. Nietzsche is a postmodern in this sense, that perspectives come to the fore. Perspectives come to the fore, not truth. It's not about what you say, it's about who says it. So Nietzsche very famously says, all philosophy is autobiographical. All philosophy is autobiographical, right? And this goes with Nietzsche's entire method in general of what's called the hermeneutics of suspicion, or deconstruction, sometimes it's called. In other words, you look at something that's apparent, you say, that's not really what that's about. There's something else going on behind there. There's something else going on behind there. And what's going on behind there? This is, well, think about it. If there's no such thing as truth, and reason is a farce, if you will, what's left? If truth and rationality and intelligibility isn't the way to understand the world, what is the bedrock of the world? How does the world really work? What's hiding behind these apparent structures in Western culture? What's hiding behind social justice? What's hiding behind truth, for Nietzsche at least? And I think for postmodernism in general, what's hiding behind that? Power. Power is what's really the fundamental substrate, or the fundamental ontological reality of the world, and certainly of Western culture, certainly of the values of Western culture, namely truth and social justice. Power is behind that. Okay. And Nietzsche's method, if you will, or the method of postmodernists in general, is simply to deconstruct these values, the values in Western culture, or anything in Western culture, and find the latent, hidden power schemes behind it, or power games behind it, if you will. You could even say this: values are a game. Western culture is a game, and the game is the winning. Who wins? Who has the most power? Power is what's at play behind the values in Western culture, okay? And so deconstruction, or the hermeneutics of suspicion, hermeneutics just means to interpret, right? And the hermeneutics of suspicion means to interpret suspiciously. What does that mean? Well, you take a value, like, for example, social justice or truth, and say, I'm suspicious of that. I don't think it's really about what you say it's about, or what they say it's about. I think it's actually about power. I think truth is really about power. I think justice is really about power, or worse, revenge. And Nietzsche has a very, very pessimistic way of looking at the world, okay? You might be wondering whether you can say what Nietzsche is saying, or anything we're saying, is true once we've critiqued truth, but we have to put that on hold for now as a problem, right? But deconstruction, notice what that word implies, right? This methodology. Deconstruction is implying that things are constructs, right? If I can deconstruct something, it's a construct. And that's another idea in postmodernism, the idea that that systems and values are simply constructs that originated in power, or will to power, as Nietzsche said. And therefore, this method of deconstruction, or the hermeneutics of suspicion, is this idea of finding the hidden power game behind it, okay? That is, it's grounding the rational upon the irrational, or the rational upon the non-rational, behind power. Behind truth is power. Behind justice is power. Even think of it like this. You might recognize some of this stuff now. What's really lurking behind gender, sex, race? Power, right? This is, I think, part of the ontological foundations to wokeism, or the woke movement, to get behind these structures and find power and exploitation, okay? Okay. I'll stop there.